Good evening, this is Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Tonight, terror charges are dropped against 8 Muslims accused in the Malegaon blast case, adding yet another twist in the investigation. With one change after another, are the probes being politicised? Also, several members of parliament violated the odd-even rule today. Many of them demanded exemptions should MPs get special treatment. And the Chinese dissident leader whose visa was cancelled by India joins us tonight. Did New Delhi come under pressure from Beijing? But first, the big story today, which is the Mumbai court that has dropped all charges against 8 Muslim men who were jailed 5 years ago for the blasts in Malegaon in Maharashtra in 2006, in which 31 people had died. The National Investigation Agency later said it had no proof against them, but then, just a few weeks earlier, had told the court it was opposing their discharge. The probe into the Malegaon blast has seen many twists and turns. Many witnesses have turned hostile against some of the accused as well. Well, joining us on the program tonight, we're joined by Dr. Farooq Makhdoumi, who's one of the men who was discharged by the court in those terror cases today. Dr. Ajay Kumar of the Congress Party is with us this evening. Mr. Bhatendra Singh, Lok Sabha MP of the BJP, in the studio with us. Criminal lawyer Satish Manashinde joining us from Mumbai tonight, and Praveen Swami of the Indian Express is also with us this evening. Praveen, let me ask you first. There have been so many twists and turns in these investigations that have taken place, especially in recent weeks as well. And one, of course, we have to understand that there are 2 different Malegaon blasts that took place in 2006 and then later, a few years later. Now, Praveen, explain to us, it was the NIA, when it took over the investigation, which said that the men who were arrested, including the gentleman who's been discharged today, that they were innocent, that there was no proof against them. But it was the same NIA that told a court a few weeks ago that it opposed their discharge. What explains that?
It is hard to explain, but the sort of line of reasoning that the NIA gives is that its position was that it wasn't for it to advocate on behalf of one particular charge sheet or another particular charge sheet, and that this was a matter for the court to decide. It didn't have an opinion. Now, personally, I find that a not very compelling line of argument. The NIA's investigation itself was a solid, scrupulous and professional piece of work, and it left, I think, to most people's minds, very little doubt that its account of events was plausible, and it should have said that, given its conviction that it had brought the right people to be prosecuted before by the law, that the other people facing trial were not guilty. This issue is now moot, and why the NIA took the stand it did, I think, is not hugely important. I think an important step's been taken towards justice today, not just because of the lives of the people who will undoubtedly be hugely relieved at the course events have taken today, but because I think it's an important step forward for the country to acknowledge, just as there are jihadists who pose a real threat to this country, there are Hindu fundamentalists too who pose a real threat to our republic, and hopefully this trial will force all of us to confront this ugly part of the reality as well.
Well, I want to ask Dr. Makhdoumi, who was discharged today. Makhdoumi साहब, ये आपके लिए बहुत बड़ा दिन है. आपने कई साल आपने जेल में गुजारे हैं. आज आप क्या कहना चाहते हैं कि मतलब ये किस तरह से आपका ये सारा ये जो ट्रायल हुआ है? What is your reaction to today's order?
I was innocent. इसलिए मतलब मुझको पूरा यकीन था कि मतलब जो है मैं डिस्चार्ज किया जाऊंगा. एटीएस ने जो भी चार्जशीट मेरे अगेंस्ट में फाइल की थी, उसमें भी मेरे खिलाफ जो है कोई सबूत नहीं था सिवाय को एक उसके कन्फेशन के लिए. 18 घंटे तक जो है कोर्ट में अपने डिस्चार्ज के लिए मैंने जो आर्गूमेंट किया, उस आर्गूमेंट से सीबीआई को ये महसूस हुआ कि मतलब जो है ये केस जो है ड्यूरिंग ट्रायल जो है नहीं चल सकता है और 100% मेरा एक्विटल पॉसिबल है. इसलिए जो है स्वामी असीमानंद का कन्फेशन जो है सीबीआई ने जो है दुनिया के सामने लाया, और जो सच्चाई एटीएस के ज़रिए छुपाई गई थी उस सच्चाई को सीबीआई ने दुनिया के सामने लाया, और उसके बाद जो है केस एनआईए को ट्रांसफ़र किया गया. एनआईए ने हम लोगों से पूछताछ की, और इस पूछताछ में हम लोगों को गांधीनगर गुजरात के एफएसएल में साइंटिफिक टेस्ट के लिए ले जाया गया और वहाँ पर जो है हमारी बेगुनाही कन्फर्म हुई और उसके बाद जो है एनआईए ने हमारे बेल एप्लीकेशन का अपोज नहीं किया और ऑन बेल जो है हम रिलीज हुए। एनआईए ने फर्दर इन्वेस्टिगेशन करते हुए कुछ और 8 लोगों को जो है अरेस्ट किया और उनके खिलाफ जब चार्जशीट फाइल की तो उसमें एनआईए ने जो है कोर्ट में बताया कि जो है हम जो 9 अक्यूज थे उनके अगेंस्ट में एटीएस और सीबीआई के जरिए जो भी मतलब चार्जेस लगाए। जी जी,
क्या आप हैरान हुए जब फिर एनआईए ने कोर्ट को बोला कुछ हफ्ते पहले कि आपको डिस्चार्ज नहीं करना चाहिए? और मैं जो प्रवीण स्वामी कह रहे थे कि ये इम्पोर्टेंट बात नहीं है, मैं पूछूंगी थोड़ी देर में ये इम्पोर्टेंट बात क्यों है, लेकिन क्या आप हैरान हुए उन्होंने अपना स्टैंड चेंज क्यों किया?
हाँ, हैरानी तो हुई थी, लेकिन जो है कोर्ट के रिकॉर्ड पे जो कुछ सबमिशन था उससे जो है डिस्चार्ज होने का 100% यकीन था। इसलिए जो है आज हम पूरी आशा के साथ आए थे कि आज हमारा केस डिस्चार्ज होगा और सच्चाई सामने आई और कोर्ट ने सच्चाई को जो है कबूल करते हुए हमको डिस्चार्ज किया है।
All right, Satish Manu Shinde, before I bring the politicians into it, as a lawyer, are you worried sort of that, with the turns that these cases are taking? Because all these years later, we don't seem to really be any closer to knowing what exactly happened. Although, one would say it's a travesty that, innocent men appear to have been put behind bars for all these years. At least they've got justice today. But, we've seen witnesses turning hostile in the other case, question marks, being raised about the ATS's investigation. Do you fear that this entire issue is becoming deeply politicized?
Well, first of all, I must say that this is a classic case of travesty of justice in India. More so because of the delay in the progress of the criminal cases. The Chief Justice of India has lamented yesterday as to the number of judges that are, insufficient and, government is doing nothing. But be that as it may, if you look at this case, 2006 was an incident and they were all arrested on the basis of confessions. And thereafter in 2007, Swami Asimananda made a confession stating that, there were a large number of blasts committed by some Hindu elements. So, first of all, one, has to think deeply as to the mindset of the investigators. Moment the incident took place in 2007 at Malegaon, the police should have realized that this happened in a thickly Muslim-dominated area. Obviously, the Muslims were the victims. The blast took place in and around mosques. So, obviously, a Muslim fundamentalist or so-called anti-national is not going to blast his own religious center and particularly his own community, because if at all people who were arrested in this case is to be seen, they were all Muslims. And even the media is trying to make out a big issue of Hindu and, Muslim people who are arrested. Why is the mindset so narrow that when the police start investigating this chance upon Muslims, when the media pounces on a case, it classifies as people as Hindus and Muslims? This is not how the judiciary sees it.
Well,
and
let me
the way in which it is being projected, it means...
because the issue has become so politicized, Mr. Bhatendra Singh, hasn't it been, would you concede, it's been a travesty of justice? Today these men have been discharged, that they shouldn't have been jailed.
No, I completely agree. The justice delayed is justice denied, and today's headlines, as Satish ji just pointed out, that there is such a huge shortage of judges is actually lies at the base of this huge problem, and it must be addressed. And I'm sure the Chief Justice visiting the Prime Minister will address this problem. But having said that, I just want to add that terrorists are not interested in this country. They want to damage the country and the very fabric of this country. So let us not say that, a mosque cannot have a Pakistani linked terrorist, because the terrorist exactly wants to do that. He wants to break into the very fabric of India, which is Hindus and Muslims living together since generations in every village. And that's exactly what they want to do. And there is an RDX finding there. There is RDX. Intelligence agencies have repeatedly said that that the organization certainly seems to be too well spread, and it doesn't seem to be a sort of a crude organization which is doing this. So keeping all this in mind, let us not give religion to terrorists. Terrorists are terrorists and they are against our country, and every nationalist citizen stands against terrorism.
But aren't these terror cases being politicized? And I ask you that because here we now are wondering whether there is, we've seen in the last several weeks witnesses turning hostile. In fact, about 40 witnesses have turned hostile in these cases. You had Special Public Prosecutor Rohini Salyan speaking to the Indian Express last year, saying that she had been put under pressure to go slow on supposed Hindu terror cases. She was then removed as the prosecutor. She went on record and said that. The question that is being asked today is whether there is pressure to go soft, and you suddenly see witnesses turning hostile. You suddenly see the NIA taking a U-turn in court a few years ago, which is why I asked that NIA question.
Well, there was the Congress government in the state and the centre, so really this needs to be questioned to a congressperson about why this was happening when they were completely in power in the state as well as the centre. There have been a lot of leaks, a lot of information coming out, and I really think there is no room for nationalism, either right wing or left wing. There is no room for nationalism with terrorism. You cannot want to break and tear the fabric of your people. We are the largest Muslim population in the world. How can we not have a policy of having this minority in the mainstream of the culture and polity, and we certainly have them in the mainstream of our culture and polity, and every nationalist and every serious politician would admit to this.
But you haven't answered the question. I'll take that to the Congress about what the Special Public Prosecutor said on record. Ajay Kumar, there are serious questions though being raised about the witnesses who've turned hostile. Why should we disbelieve their statements now?
Look, I think the wider question, Nidhi, is the NIA is under a great deal of pressure, and I'm just saying from Malegaon, whether you link Malegaon or Samjhauta, the whole issue why BJP and the RSS is nervous and why we need to say that is because of what Asim Anand symbolizes. Asim Anand's act goes right up to the top leadership of the RSS based on his confessional statement, and that is why post 2014 there has been this great deal of pressure. Look, day before, a few days back, there was a director of NIA who said that Colonel Purohit there is nothing against Colonel Purohit in the Samjhauta case. He was not being investigated in the Samjhauta case. But the director of NIA goes on TV and on record saying that, so everybody says Colonel Purohit innocent in Samjhauta. He was not even investigated. The Director General of NIA, Mr. Sharad Kumar, gets an extension. It's unheard of in the civil services. I mean, a police officer getting extension. By the way, once he retires, he cannot remain a police officer. It's illegal. Are there shortages? Why? Because all the cases which lead to whether it is, and that is important, all terror cases, whether it is the Pune bakery blast, which has got the semi fingerprints or Indian Mujahideen, or whether it is the Malegaon. The question is the politicization of NIA by this government, because it goes right up to the RSS top leadership. Asim Anand, if he starts talking, gets convicted, will bring their whole issue into the collapse their own political structure, and that's why this whole thing is Salyan. Imagine a senior public government prosecutor filing an affidavit in this way, saying that I've been put under pressure, witnesses turning hostile. So the question again is, Nidhi, the fundamental issue is NIA under pressure? Can you have a Director General who is on extension? Can you have a director of NIA who comes on TV channels and says that Colonel Purohit is...
Well, it's really shocking to hear the Congress spokesperson speak like this. You have your Home Minister who's made 2 different affidavits. And, this whole politicization must stop.
Can I answer that?
It just has to stop. We cannot be talking about, making politics out of terrorism. Let's unitedly oppose terrorism.